Welcome to the Gen Cares Powered by Chosen Live podcast, a podcast that brings the community to you. Each week, we feature a guest that will help us stay in the know. We are here every Monday at 8 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube. Be sure to like, comment, and share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Now, here's your host, Gen Cares.
Well, good evening and welcome to Gen Cares, powered by Chosen Counselors. I am your host, Gen Cares, the founder of Chosen Counselors, a nonprofit organization that seeks to inspire, motivate, empower, and strengthen individuals and families. As always, I want to say thank you so much for tuning in, for liking, for sharing, for commenting, and coming back again. Friends, last week was so good. If you missed it, go watch it. We kicked off our September series back to school and we headed to the counselor's office. And we talked about listening to hear, not listening to speak. So, friends, I do hope that you are listening to hear instead of listening to speak. As you'll find out, you can help somebody just a little bit more by just listening first and then responding. Because sometimes we go to speak and we miss what they said. It's so important that we listen to hear and not to speak. We also talked about if your house is on fire. Friends, if your house is on fire or something is happening out of your control, please call out for help. There are people willing and able to help and support you. You are not alone. And guess what, friends? There is hope. Friends, we have some amazing things coming up, and I just want to share some of those things before we get into it because it's about to get good. Put on your seatbelts. I want to share first about our meetup. The meetup has been going amazing. We're purpose-driven, purpose-minded people come together, and you get support and accountability. I'm so excited for all those that are members. Please plan to attend our next event, which will be on Saturday, November 12th. We are going to the selfie content room. So if you want to come, please do go to our website to register. I am securing a photographer to be there so you can get some good pictures along with your selfie pictures, okay? We're going to have a good time. So if you can, come on and attend. It's going to be good. Also, I want to share that I'll be hosting a webinar, but I'll share it at the end. So that means you have to stay to the end to find out what's going on. Let's get into tonight's episode because I'm excited, okay? I am so excited. You know, I go back and forth for myself on LinkedIn. I'm like, should I be on LinkedIn? Should I not be on LinkedIn? And I am so grateful that I'm still on LinkedIn because I came across our guest tonight. And when I tell you her story, just empowered me and encouraged me and let me know, look, adulting is hard, okay? And she's going to share her story with us on tonight. We're going to have a good time because this adulting strong, my version of it and your version may be different, but we're all working to figure out what works best for us. So tonight, I am honored to have the amazing Jessica Williams. So help me welcome Jessica Williams for Adulting Strong. All right, here we go.
That was a great intro. I loved it.
I try, you gotta add some theatrics. It's only me in the studio over here. I crack myself up too. How are you doing tonight?
I am doing amazing. It has been a wonderful Monday. This is the end of the day, so it's a good end.
Absolutely. I totally agree. So over here at Gen Cares, we start with a quote of the day. And today's quote of the day is, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. Again, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. Viktor Frankl. What are your thoughts on that quote?
Oh, it fits perfectly. Today, I've had several conversations with people that are in the trenches of deciding if they want to leave their job. And so once you decide that you've had enough or, the sky's the limit and all of that, then it might be time for you to leave. So if you can't change the situation, you have to change the situation that you're in. So it speaks to me today because I have had 2 conversations with people that want to leave their jobs today.
I may or may not have some friends that have tuned in that be thinking this very same thing. I'm not going to put their names out there because either they watching right now or will be watching because they do still come back and listen because that's a real thing. Why do you think people struggle with that? Let's just go there for quick.
I think there's so many things to it. I think people don't bet on themselves. So one thing about me is that I'm gonna move around because I'm gonna bet that I can start over. I can do this better. I can do it somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And other people seem to feel like they're stuck, like they can't get out of it, but there's always a way out. And I'm not saying it's not going to be hard and that you're not going to have to struggle, but you can get out of a situation. But I don't think a lot of people they don't want to feel that discomfort.
Because it's comfortable being where you are. As much as you don't like it, you know what it entails. If you go somewhere else, it's like, am I going to make it? Will I do good? Should I? And that can get icky. That can get icky. But I like that. Bet on myself. I'm going to bet on myself. Friends, bet on yourself. But first nugget of wisdom today, bet on yourself. Okay? Because you're going to figure it out. You know, it's funny because like resumes, they say, some people sell that you should bluff on things because they're going to train you anyway.
Yeah.
Got it. But some of the things you want to do and you want to learn, you do your pieces to learn some of those pieces. But betting on yourself means that you're going to try and just figure it out when you get there.
Yeah, you can figure it out along the way. And I'm a big, part of the Beehive. I'm from Texas, so we love Beyonce over here. Yeah. And so one of her quotes says, "I'm not a betting woman, but there's one thing I'll always bet on, and that's myself."
Friends, let's take that to the bank. We can cash that in because she has bet on herself and she has made it. Okay, still making it. So come on into the Beehive. If you're not, at least just take that and let it go with you. Let it bless you. Let it bless you. So Jessica, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Jessica?
Yeah, my name is Jessica Williams. So right now I work as the VP of people for a company called Refine Labs. We're a marketing agency. But I guess I'll let you guys on a little tea is that I just got a promotion. So I'm officially Senior Vice President.
Congratulations.
So that will go into effect August 1st. So we finally announced it to the whole company. So I felt like I could tell people because it's been on the low for a minute. But yes, so Senior Vice President, a lot of my time is spent on people management. So we're a small startup. So I have a small team of people that report into me. But anything to do with people, operations, engagement, that's all me. And then on the side, because we all got side hustles, my side hustle is I have my own career coaching business called Hidden Gems Career Coaching. So I specialize in helping women of color either rejoin the workforce or move up in the workforce. So I consider that more to be a passion, but I mean, I am getting paid for it.
It's nice when you can do your passion and get paid for it. That's why I went into the field. I mean, and as you get better, you get paid a little bit more and a little bit more. And a little bit more. So congratulations. Let's talk. Canby says congratulations on promotion. That is so amazing. Question, that career coach. Tell me about that. Is that in-state, out-of-state? Anybody can get your services for that?
Anybody in the US, Canada, it doesn't matter where you are. If you can get on a Zoom, we can make it work. Most of my clients right now are in the US, women of color that are either transitioning. Several of them are transitioning teachers, as we know the teaching field right now. Some people want to get out. And then a couple of them want to get promotions in their current job. So you don't have to want to leave your current job to get career coaching. And I'll put you on a little secret. Everyone that I know in the C-suite has a coach. Some type of coach. And it's always interesting to me when I talk to people and they're like, "Oh, I don't need a coach." And I'm like, little do you know, your CEO has a coach. So why wouldn't you have a coach too?
Come on. Very good. A coach. Friends, again, they might be watching them, they might not be watching, but I've had these conversations. They're like, "You did this for me?" I don't know, but maybe,
Yeah, maybe.
I love it. This is dope. One, congratulations to that as well. And again, being able to help others make it. I remember seeing a tweet where somebody was applying for a job and they didn't really know how to say which salary it was. And the person acted like it was disconnected. And they called them on the side, like saying, "Look, bet on yourself."
Yeah.
She took one. And then she was able to get back connected. "Oh, yeah, I don't know what happened." And they was able to make a good transition. And unfortunately, sometimes people don't always do that. And I get that sometimes you can and you can't, but I appreciated that woman bet on herself to be able to help that person who she felt was valuable, would be able to add great addition to their company. So having a coach can do that to help you say, "No,
don't nobody's there." Yeah, like there are good people out there. I will tell you, in the beginning of my career, I remember telling somebody one time, I called her on the side, kind of like that person did, and said, "Hey, you said that you were willing to take $60,000, but the job will pay you up to 80. But if you say 60, they're going to give you 60.
Mm.
And honestly, from an HR standpoint, you're putting yourself on the line, because if that person wants to go tell somebody, you're definitely getting in trouble.
Yeah.
But I definitely have done that for people,
Mhm.
specifically people of color, because in my mind, nobody else would be willing to do that for them. So if I got to do it, then so be it, especially when I'm the only person in the room. I'm normally the only person of color in the room. So if I'm not willing to help you, they're definitely not going to help you.
I love it. Friends, get yourselves a career coach. Help you buff up that resume, boost up your confidence to be able to say, you know what? I am worth a little bit more. And sometimes we doubt what we bring to the table, lack of confidence and things of that sort.
Confidence is such a big thing when it comes to interviewing. You have to sell yourselves. Like if you think about interviewing, it is a sales pitch.
Yeah.
You are selling why you are good for the job, why you are able to fix the problem. I'm one of those weird people that I love interviewing, honey. I'm about it. Like, let's go. Like, it's my time to shine. Yes. But I realize that a lot of people aren't like that.
See, that's why you got to connect, so you get a little bit of her energy, so you can go in there and knock out. They're like, you know what? We need you. Yeah, send it out there. Send it out there. Send it out there. Oh, that's amazing. And you get to put your best foot forward. And I would hate for anybody to go on an interview. And I get it. You can be nervous and things of that sort. So do some practice with some friends and those that are in good fields. So that when you go in there, it's like action.
Yeah. Like,
let them know why they need to pick you. Because if not, you're not betting on yourself and you could have stayed on home, Go out there and try your best. So tonight's topic is adult and strong. We're going back to school because as children, we was like, I can't wait to be an adult. Did you ever say that?
Absolutely. I have, I'm going to tell you this. I was such a little teenage brat, and shout out to my mom, because, she went through a lot, but I was such a little brat that when I turned 17, I started a countdown, and I called it a countdown to freedom. And so every day I would click the box on how many more days I had to be in her house.
Did she help you check off box? Let me check another box for you.
Yeah, she was like, oh, well, I'm happy too. But yes, honey, I was ready to be an adult.
Now, when you did become an adult, how fast were you to get out the door?
Oh, I left the day after my high school graduation. I moved out.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, she bets on herself early. She said, look, I feel like it's greater in me. It's been fun. Thank you for these years. Let me now take
the day of my graduation. I was packing boxes, and they're like, "Oh, you serious?" I was like, "Oh, when I told y'all I was leaving, I'm leaving." So I ended up starting college early. I didn't take the summer off. I moved straight to the dorms. Let's go.
Okay. You wasn't playing. I love it. But the motivation that you had to do that is amazing. Some people's like, no, let me get this break. You was ready to go right there.
Let's go.
So how was that transition going from childhood to adulthood? So, you were ready for it because you checked off the boxes, but how did it go? How was it?
Oh, it was definitely a struggle. I look back and I was so sheltered. I grew up in a really small town in East Texas, super sheltered. And I just thought I knew it all. And then little did I know my parents I was growing up in a very guarded environment. And that's why I wanted to leave though. So I wanted to leave because I felt like I want to be free and da, 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 da. And I left and was like, oh, this is what the world is like. Oh, no. But me being so stubborn, I was like, I don't care what happens. I don't care if I have to work 3 jobs. I'm not going back. Yeah. So I struggled when I really didn't need to, or I didn't have to, because I was so stubborn.
Let's talk about this guarded, because that's a big piece right there. As a child, you don't realize all the sacrifices that your parents make. I remember writing a poem by my mom. Sacrifice was my mother's middle name, because I didn't realize how many corners she cut to make sure things were as they should be, or just the preparation. Might not even cut corners, but making $1 out of 15 cents, like she did that, made a miracle. How was that transition for you to know, like, I was protected, but now I think I got it. But wait a minute, maybe I do need protection, but I don't want to go back, but I need the protection.
Yeah. It was a catch-22, because my parents were adamant that, like, okay, you're 18, you want to be grown, be grown. But at the same time, I definitely was struggling on the low. Like, they didn't even know that I was like eating ramen noodles and had no money. They were just like, you said you got it, so have it. But we are here. So there were definitely moments where I had to reach out to them and humble myself. Ooh, that's a hard pill to swallow, but I had to humble myself and, say I need help. But it was It was a struggle. I mean, it was not easy, especially that first 1 to 2 years, because you're figuring out what's real, what's not, who could hurt you, who is not, who does not have your best interest at heart. And as an 18-year-old girl, you have some things to learn.
Absolutely. Jeannie said, if I could go back, I want to be 16.
Here's what I know to be true is that if I could go back right now, and part of it was that my parents didn't live in a city, in that they lived in the country. If they would have lived in Dallas, which is where I ended up moving, they would have had to kick me out, baby. Like, because I would have been rent free. I would have been on the insurance till I was 26. If I had some things to do over, I would.
If only we was in a city, Mom and Dad.
Man,
city life. It's funny. So when they were growing up, were they in the city or the country?
They were in the country.
Okay, so they were always in the country, so that's what they knew. Yeah. Got it. All right. Got it. Another part you said about the struggle, and I didn't have to. How was that experience for you?
I think in hindsight, it definitely helped me. Like it 100% made me resilient. Like I know I can survive. Like I can figure it out on my own. But did it have to be that way? Sometimes is what I think about. Could I have gotten this resilience a different type of way than to have to struggle? And I don't know. It is what it is at this point. Right. But I think back and I think, did it have to be this way? No, I don't think that it had to be this way. But at the time, you could not tell 18-year-old Jessica nothing. She was not listening to nothing.
Period. So it didn't have to be that way. Knowing that now, how does that help you navigate things when you do feel like, you're in a corner because life be life and you go on top of things, but something happens? How does that now translate in what you know now?
I think now it shows up in me being transparent, and I don't feel the need to be so secretive. So before I would be secretive just because I wouldn't want people to know that I was struggling. I could have nothing and nobody would know it. And now I'm very open of like, hey, this is what's going on. Even the fact that I even talk about mental health and I talk about therapy, like I talk about these things so openly because I don't think there should be any shame about it. And two, I know that I'm helping somebody that thinks that they can't talk about it when I know that, well, look at me. Like I talk about it so freely. And I've had people tell me before, like, oh my God, like, no, you present so well. I wouldn't think. And I'm like, girl, if you only knew what it took to put this facade on. Like I have a team of support over here.
And that's good. That's the hard part too of the facade that you feel that you have to put on, because people want you to be on your A game at all times. It's like, if they only knew I'm breaking down, behind this mask. We had masks on before masks were a thing, and putting on this front. How was the balance for that to get from being so secretive to being transparent? Because being secretive is really like showing off flaws,
Yeah. I think it shows up in different way for different people, but for me, it showed up in me deciding that I needed to get sober. So part of my secrecy was also me deciding like I was using alcohol as a reward for things. So I would say, I did this, I deserve a reward. I got A's, I deserve a reward. I have 3 college degrees. When I graduated, it was party time. Like, let's go. I did this. I can show you I can make it. And it got to a point where I was like, okay, am I rewarding myself, or is this an addiction? Like, do I need to get help? And so part of me transitioning from secrecy to telling like the whole truth and nothing but the truth was me deciding, hey, I need to get sober. And part of the way that I'm going to stay sober is for me to be honest about it. And so I just started telling everybody. For the first couple of months, I didn't tell, nobody knew. In fact, I think people thought I was pregnant. I was not, because I just stopped drinking. And that's the first assumption that people think when you stop drinking and you're a woman is that you're pregnant. And so I was like, well, the thing about babies is I'm going to have to eventually show y'all. You're going to be like, but there's no baby. I just decided that I needed to get sober. And so then I got really honest about it. And it was a long road. Like I'm coming up on 3 years of sobriety, and it's been a journey, but it's probably the best thing I ever did.
One, congratulations to the 3 years. I think that we're taught at young ages to put band-aids on things, right? So what started you with the reward of, and were there other rewards, or how did that reward outshine other rewards that you did engage in?
It was the main reward. So it was a way of being like, I did this, so I deserve a drink. And I don't care if it was good, bad, indifferent. If I did something good, I deserved a drink. If it was a hard day, I deserved a drink. If something was wrong, I deserved a drink. And so it just set up this revolving system. And in fact, I was actually being rewarded for it because it wasn't hindering my job. I was still getting promotion. it wasn't hindering my education. I was still getting these degrees.
Mhm.
So even when I had a teacher, actually, now that I think about it, when I was in my master's program that I was very close to, and she mentioned to me one time, she said, it seems to be that every time something good happens that you want to drink, because I was like the party girl of like, oh my God, I finished this. Or when I finished my thesis, it was like, let's go. And she was like, have you ever thought about having a different reward? And it was like she was talking a different language. I remember thinking, what is she saying? How do you reward yourself for a master's degree besides a glass of wine? Like, what's the alternative? And I really didn't understand what she was trying to say. And now that I look back, she saw me when I wasn't even seeing myself.
And that's so important, because you're going on in life, you're functioning, doing well. Nobody is seeing anything because you're showing up with your A game. And again, behind the scenes is something else going on. Yes. And I think like that was the thinking of the theme of the Delton Strong, because so many of us are secretive. So many of us are keeping things to ourselves. Last week we talked about what happens in our house stays in our house. However, sometimes our house is on fire.
Yes.
And we're not telling nobody, we slowly dying. They could come in, and it's not even so much a firefighter, because it's the carbon monoxide that could come in, that's silent killer and things like that. And we have so many of those sometimes that could get in, but it's not until that person sees us. Do you feel like she was like the turning point for you, or what was the turning point to say something has to change?
She wasn't the turning point, but she was the spark. So she sparked my thinking where I started thinking like, oh, maybe this is a problem, but I wouldn't have acknowledged that. But she sparked something in my mind, because she was the first person to tell me to my face in a very calm, like, hey, maybe you need to think about this. And then when the pandemic started, I actually told my doctor at one point that like, hey, like I can't sleep. And so since I can't sleep, I just drink. And she was like, have you ever heard of self-medicating? And at the time I had not. I truly didn't know when she said self-medicating what she meant. And she was like, well, it sounds to me like you're self-medicating and you're very high functioning, so nobody's going to see it. But I just want you to know that's what I think is going on. And that was another spark. So these sparks kept happening where people were telling me, but it wasn't a problem. And I'll say this, at the height of my addiction, I was in a director role. I had 3 college degrees. I was leading a nonprofit organization. I was doing all the things that if you were to look at me, that everything was right. And every single night I would go home and I would drink. And so nobody was going to know. Like in fact, I think people are reinforcing that like, oh, well, you need it. Like they were like, oh, well, if I did all the things that you do, I would need to drink too. Like they were reinforcing my behavior, but there were always these sparks that were like, oh, Jessica, you need to think about this. This is not okay. Your health is deteriorating. All these things are happening. So at the beginning of 2020, right before the pandemic, is when I thought I need to change. And it, like I said, best decision I ever made, because I truly, truly think that if I would not have stopped before the pandemic, it would have been a dangerous spiral, more than it already was.
Wow. The sparks, self-medicating. That's good, because, and friends, some of us that are listening will listen or watch. We use a lot of different things to self-medicate. Some people use drugs, some people use sex, some people use food. So whatever your vice is, one, again, congratulations, because that's amazing. And every day is a new task to make sure that we stay on track on whatever it is we're doing. But friends, whatever it is, like you might have some sparks too. Pay attention to the sparks. Yeah, it could be somebody trying to save your life, or at least help you.
Or see you. Like to be seen is so magical. For somebody to see you and say like, hey, like maybe you should think about this. And at the time, I'm gonna like, now I smile about it, but at the time I was like, you talking to me? Like, no. I got it all together over here. And I used my education and I used my job to tell people that they were wrong. I specifically remember a family member mentioning to me, and I was like, look at all that I've done. Like, you can't tell me anything. So it was also a form of defense to say, look at me and you can't tell me anything, when it was all crumbling. It was all like, if you looked too close, it was crumbling.
That was going to be my next question. Because again, if you're thinking that you're doing good, somebody else tell you something different, like, maybe you're talking about yourself. How can I help you? Let me put the mirror on you, What's going on for you? Maybe you're self-medicating. That's not me. I'm doing fine. I'm doing this. And that's amazing. So like, how in your body did you feel the taxing part of it? Because you're steady busy doing so many things. And like, as a female, as a woman, African-American woman, you have a whole bunch of different hats you're wearing along with those things that, you're trying to do in work. How was that balance for all those things?
For me, it physically showed up as anxiety. My anxiety, and I've had anxiety for some time, but before this, I had never really truly been diagnosed. Like, I hadn't talked to a doctor about it. I just assumed I'm just going to live this way. And I had coping mechanisms, one of which was drinking. So it continued to show up as severe anxiety to the point of like, I couldn't sleep. I would have these thought spirals where I just couldn't get out of it. And now I know that drinking was like pouring gasoline on a fire. So the fire was my anxiety. And when I started drinking, I was pouring fire on it every single time, just dashing it further. So when I stopped drinking is when it was like, oh, like there are ways I can cope with my anxiety that are not alcohol. I can talk to somebody. I can like do I can go exercise. I can, move. I can meditate. I can do anything I want to do, but don't drink. But yeah, my anxiety, it showed up physically as anxiety, and I was pouring gasoline on a fire that was already lit.
I assumed I would be this way. And sometimes we get in a situation, you feel like, well, this is the only way it could be. I can't get out. So that claw for saving me a life and like getting out, like something has to change. Even when you said something to see a doctor, low key, like cry out for help, right? Because it's like, well, maybe I'll talk to my doctor, see if my doctor says it's something. Because I'm going to trust the doctor a little bit more than these people that's walking around the streets telling me something. Not that I want to hear it from the doctor, because I feel like it's fine. I'm doing all right. How was that when you found out that, hey, I don't have to be here? It doesn't have to be this way.
Well, I'll tell you guys a funny story. And I tell people this story because I want you to know the depths of how far I had gone. Is that I had decided, so I would go through these spirals where I'd say, there's nothing wrong with me. Like, I'm going to show y'all. I'm going to do a 30-day cleanse. And it was always a 30-day cleanse. But okay, at day 30, at 12:01, I was drinking again. But I would say, okay, I'm going to do a cleanse. So I had gone through this, I'm going to do a cleanse phase, for the 1,000th time. And on day 29, I remember thinking, like, I've been able to do this, but can I really keep this up? So me being me, one day at lunch, I decided I'm going to look up rehabs, but not any rehab, because I'm not going to no, regular rehab. I'm going to go to a nice rehab. So I found, me being the needy person I am, I found this amazing rehab in California, and they have horses, and you could do this and do that. And I called them. I called them and I said, I just want to know the process and the intake and da. And bless the lady on the phone, whoever she was, because she was so kind. And at the end, she said, well, are you calling about somebody else or for you? And I said, oh, no. There's nothing wrong with me. I just wanted to understand what's going on at the facility. Now think about how that sounds. I literally called the rehab facility, but I didn't want to go. Okay. I don't want to go. I just want to know what it would be like if I did go, because there's nothing wrong with me.
And it was the classic one. You said horse riding. I mean, this is 5-star.
Like, I'm trying to go to the Ritz-Carlton of rehab facility.
Bless your heart and bless that woman on the phone. She's like, I get these calls all the time. It's totally all right.
She was like, girl.
She's like, another one in the now, Jim. So after this phone call, how was that experience? Like, again, because you felt like you didn't have to go. You just wanted to know what did happen if you did go. What was the next after that?
Oh, yeah. The next thing. So this happened probably a week later is when I decided, okay, I need help. And I needed help. And I talked to my family about it. I actually talked to my parents about it. And that was like the major step, because my parents really didn't know what was going on. They were 3 hours away. They saw the highlight reel. They got to talk to their family and like the family and the friends about how well she's doing and look at what she's doing. But they weren't seeing me. They had seen me drinking, but they hadn't seen me under the influence. And I had actually made these rules where I didn't talk to my family after 8 o'clock. So if somebody called me from my family after 8 o'clock, I didn't answer because I was going to be drinking. So I had set up all these rules. I felt like to protect them from what I was doing. And so that started to fall apart when I talked to them about it. And so that was the beginning of the end when I started talking to them about it. And then one of the things that somebody asked me, and it still gets to me because she asked me, are you free? And I thought, what do you mean? Like, what are you even talking about? And she was like, no. If you don't think you have a drinking problem, my question for you is, are you free? And at the time, I really couldn't say that I was free because I was always thinking about drinking. If I was at work, I was thinking about, I need this to be done so I can go home and be stress-free, quote unquote, and drink. So I wasn't really free. And so that was one of the things that enticed me to stop drinking was, are you free? So anybody listening today, you know, it might not be alcohol, like we said, everybody has something, but just ask yourself, are you free? And if the answer is no, then maybe that's something you need to think about.
I was talking to somebody recently, and we were talking about something they wanted to stop doing, right? And it was like, well, this is what I could do, right? And that'd be good, right? And I didn't respond. You don't understand. I said, I don't know what's going to work to really help you.
Yeah.
Only you know. And then you try it. And if it works, you keep on doing it.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, you figure out something else to try to help you for whatever your goal is. So like how you did your 30 days, you know, your 30 days, but then 1201, all right. It's a little bit in. That time of the 28th, like, but what could change? Let's talk about doing those 30 days, because there are some things that people are trying to get rid of, and one day seems too much to stop. But to make it 30 days, how do you feel like life was going for you, where you was like, maybe this is okay, but maybe not. 30th day, here we go.
Yeah. For me, I was so high functioning that I was able to make myself believe anything I wanted to. So because I wasn't losing anything, like when people think of addiction, they think of, you're going to lose your house, you're going to lose your car, you're going to lose your family. I hadn't lost anything. Everything was going good. So I felt like for me, it was even harder for me to stop because nothing had been taken away. Like maybe if I had lost my job, I had lost, you know, I wasn't financially healthy, then it would have made me start rethinking my decisions, but nothing was being taken away. So my decisions were like, well, you can't take anything from me. Another thing that was so, I think that hindered me is that I was so independent, that I was making my own money. Like at the time I was single, I wasn't even in a relationship. So there was no one that could say, I'm going to take something from you, because what are you going to take? It's mine. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think that actually hindered me from, even when my family wanted to talk to me about it, all they could do was talk to me about it. It wasn't like they could make me do anything because I was financially free. So I think that was also something just to think about. But that 30 days, it was an illusion, because I could fool myself into doing anything for 30 days, but I couldn't make it longer than that.
Now you good.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the friends that were around you. How did they respond? How did they respond?
It was a mixed bag, I have to say, because I was the friend, you know, you want to be around people that are going to act like you. So I had a lot of friends that were drinking just as much as I was. And it's not my place to say if they have addiction or not. I know what was true for me, and I knew I needed to stop. But I did lose friends. I definitely did, because you can't change everything about your life, which is what I did. I changed everything about what I was doing, who I was hanging around, where I was going, what I wanted to be. All of those things changed, and you can't do that with the same people. And that's a hard truth. Like I lost some friends that, you know, I still love and I wish them nothing but the best, but we can't be friends because we don't want to do the same things.
Friends, that's a mouthful, because again, in all aspects of life, you know, I can't hang with you anymore because I don't want to rob banks somewhere. I might get caught. Yeah. You know, eventually they got caught. I mean, one got away, but they did get caught. And
I'm trying to be like, Jada, honey, I'm getting away.
Look, only because that man saw the shit already went through enough to let her keep on going. Okay. But you know, eventually, you know, you can't get caught up in some things. And that's a big piece too, of making sure that if you're trying to stop something, that you're not surrounding yourself with that until you are truly, truly strong enough to be able to be around it, you know? Because like you can say, yeah, I'm doing good, I've been doing good, and then you get around it. It's like you're trying to stop eating certain things, and then you get around, you smell it. Ooh, I saw the video today. Somebody was eating like healthy, but then sniffing a cookie. Eating healthy, sniffing a cookie. Whatever works for you. She kept eating it healthy. I mean, but when the camera stopped, she might have ate that cookie. I don't know. But you know, you have to also surround yourself. Like if it is food, you're trying to change the whole kitchen dynamic. You know, more vegetables and not the junk foods and things of that sort. You have to be strategic and intentional. Let's talk about how hard that is, because I get that it's hard. It's not easy. But when you want greater for yourself, when you want to bet on yourself, because you feel like there's more to you than this, I don't have to be where I am, even though I assumed that I was supposed to be here. How was that process?
Yeah, it definitely very difficult. I would say the first Now, mind you, I want to preface this by saying I got sober right when the pandemic started. So it was actually great for me because I couldn't leave my house.
Right.
Because at the time, unfortunately, my dad was going through the middle of chemo. So we were very, very serious about, I did not leave my house. Like we were very cautious about COVID because of his condition, and he did not have the immune system to fight it. So with that being said, it actually truly helped me because there were like, I literally would be in my apartment and then I would go see my parents. Like that would be the extent of where I was able to go. So it made it to where I didn't really have a choice to hang out with my friends because I couldn't because of COVID. But I will say once COVID, started to let up and, after probably about 9 to 10 months, I did go out with friends, and it was very hard to be with people that were drinking. I'm now at the point of my sobriety where I'm almost at 3 years where it doesn't bother me. Like people are drinking, it's cool, you do your thing. I'll have my own thing. And then I'm always the person that drives myself because when I'm ready to go, I'm ready to go. But I was like, I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna be the first person at the festivity and the first person to leave. Yeah. And that's just the vibe I'm giving these days. But it is what it is. But it was hard to be around those people. But one of the things I always, and I'm really big on quotes, is I tell myself all the time, is that I didn't come this far to stay the same. So I didn't come this far in my sobriety. I didn't come this far in my journey to stay the same. And so if that means staying the same with the same people, then I got to let those people go.
I had to write that one down. I didn't come this far to stay the same. Something has to change.
Yeah.
Even as growing up as a baby, you're eating baby food. You can't speak it thing. But when you get older, you have to be able to speak up for yourself. You're not eating the mushed up foods and things like that, so you're able to eat, harder food, things of that sort. You can't stay the same.
Yeah.
You gotta change. Your body requires something different.
And you want to be different. Like I truly wanted to be healthier. I wanted to be different. I wanted to not have like the liquid courage or the crutch of what that meant. I wanted to be well, and I wasn't well. And so to get well, there are some people that I had to let go.
Another part you said was the boundaries. And that's so important because let's say, again, we're talking about different vices and things. So you like to spend your money. Sometimes you got to put a boundary on that card or how much you really go. Because if not, you'd be like, oh, I'm going to talk about somebody else I know. They'd be like, oh, I want to get candles and things of that sort. That was a thing, Or like me, sometimes I don't know. Who knows what it is that I think that I need, and this might be trying to suck me. I'll be like, that is not what I called you to do. However, the accountability is good, but being able to set those boundaries for yourself of how much I can do, how much I can go. I know a girl, she's excited for the candle sale when it comes, and she like loads up on them. I'm like, well, can I get a couple? Because I couldn't get in the line. Look like good whatever though, like knowing what your boundaries are, how much you can spend. One, again, making sure your bills are paid. Because sometimes, sunshines, we don't do that. Yeah. All right. Okay. So make sure the bills are paid. And then going forward. If I saw the video the other day, a guy, he was sad because he lost all his money at the in playing gambling and things of that sort. Friends, when we say bet on ourselves, that's not what we mean.
That's not what I mean.
Bet on yourself to have that roof over your head. Bet on yourself to have that electric working, that water running, and things of that sort, because we need those things. Those are necessities of life. The boundaries is the extra stuff that we get that we don't need. When you go into the store, you're like, oh my gosh, I need this. Where are you going to put it at, Jennifer?
Yeah.
Is this really going to help you? And I walk around the store with something, and I was like, all right, I'm going to get it. I'm like, do you really need this? Do you really need this? And I can put it back. However, sometimes it's like, no, I'm going to get it. But then there's some people that are just buy. And then after a while, you ain't got no space for that. So again, friends, we got to put boundaries in there.
Yeah.
Of who you can hang out, how long you can hang out. If you're going to drive, then drive yourself on back. Because if you're driving yourself, you're not going to mess up your car. Because the boundaries are, I need this car to get to work.
Yeah.
I need this car to see my family. Very important for the boundaries. That's a good point. But are you free?
Are you free? And I can say right now, when I look back, from 3 years ago, what my life was like. And I think in the midst of it, I talked about anxiety. Like it was anxiety, depression, and then addiction all in one. And so when I look at my life now, it is nothing like it was. Like I truly do feel free. I'm 2 months away from getting married.
Congratulations.
So getting married.
A promotion, married, 3 years sober. She
when
met herself, friend.
I did. But yeah, even the fact that I'm about to get married to someone who he's been sober for 8 years, I would have never thought I would even be interested in somebody that was sober,
Mm.
because that wasn't the life that I was living. So how could I be with you if you wasn't participating in what I wanted to do? And
Mm.
so even now, my relationship, I think about, I want to have a strong, my parents have been married for 33 years. So that's like the foundation of what I want in my life. And I know that I have that now because I am in my right mind. You know what I mean? Like, I am healthy. I'm the healthiest I've ever been mentally and physically. And I'm making the right decisions based on that, not based on this is convenient or this person is participating in what I'm participating in.
Now you shared that it was at the height of the beginning of the pandemic and things like the shutdown. But another factor that sometimes comes in is peer pressure.
Oh, yes.
Even in the moments where you thought that no, I'm not going to do too much tonight, because even though you're doing it doesn't mean that you want to turn up every night. Just a little bit and you good. But it's some people are like, no, drink. Let's talk about the peer pressure of it. How was that process?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. This actually came up last weekend. So I have a friend who, we have a very complicated relationship.
Mhm.
And one of the things that she finds it appropriate to do is send me videos of her and other friends that I know, of them out drinking, having a good time. And even to this day, so I'm about to be 3 years in, and it still triggers me when I see these videos because something in me still feels left out. So something in me deep down, we are all have feelings. We are all like little kids that don't want to be left out. And so when I see them out partying and drinking, it still to this day gets to me that I'm not included. But I'm not included because I don't want to be there. Because God knows that if I wanted to be there, I could go. You know what I mean? But like even now, and I'm 3 years in. So in the beginning, I had strong boundaries that I was not going out. So I wasn't going out to clubs. If you were going to be drinking, I even had told friends, like, I wanted people to come to my house because I could control the environment. So, and I would tell people, when you come over here, there will be no alcohol. Like, let's hang out, let's chill, but we won't be drinking. And so I set up those boundaries because I knew that's what I needed. But it's such an individual thing, because I do know other people that's, they can't be around people. Even now I can. So now it's okay. But in the beginning, no.
Yeah. And that's part of the boundaries and knowing your limits. And sometimes we miss that. I go out with some friends and they be like, "What you get? Can I get a water?" I'm not really a drinker. I think because when I was in college and I used to drink or try it out and stuff, I was like, well, why I'm not acting like them? Because I thought I was supposed to act that way because shelter didn't have it in your house. So like, you go out, I was like, okay, let me try it. Like, this is a waste of my money. That's what I would say. That was a blessing that I had that mindset, because if not, I would be like, turn down for what?
Yeah, I was gonna say, amen, girl.
That's not everybody's testimony. I understand that. But when you do finally, when she tries something, it's like, I didn't. I guess because I didn't know what I was supposed to get from the experience and things of that sort. So like, again, with the peer pressure of like, they say, just try it. But again, still know, like, if you do try it, if you don't like it, it's okay for you to not like it. If you do like it, it is okay for you to like it. Make sure we're doing it in moderation, obviously, depending on what it is, whatever it may be. But again, knowing the boundaries of what you can take and what you can't take. Because I tell you, once the first time I ever had a shot, I was like, oh, my chest. We was outside and it was so nice and cool. After a while, I was like hot. I'm like, ooh, got hot.
I think the boundaries part is so critical. And in the beginning, I had even wrote out boundaries. So I had boundaries of, I will not have alcohol in my house. I will not go places where people are drinking in excess. So if we're, if I'm going to somebody's house and they're having a glass of wine, that's not my business. Do what you want to do. But if I'm going places where people are visibly drunk and falling down and all of that, I can't be there. That's not the place for me. So I had written down boundaries. That is how serious it was to me.
And that's it. You got to be serious about it, friends. Whatever it is that you're trying to stop yourself from doing, you got to be serious about it. If it is you're not spending money, it's serious where you only have in your account how much you need for your bills and the other goes into a saving, because how life be life and being an adult. You think you be good, and then a light comes on in that car. Gas is going up, it's going down right now, so we're doing all right. But to be ready for the adjustments and the shakes and the waves and ups and downs of life, you got to have those boundaries. Right amount.
And the goal thing is always going to give you something new. So it's always going to give you, if you would have asked 18-year-old Jessica what my life is now, I don't even think it was fathomable that I, like, the thought that I wouldn't drink or that I would be sober and that I with even my job right now, like even working in HR and like
Mhm.
having my own business, like these are things that it was never been something that was possible to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And then it's amazing because, they say, everything in our lives happen for a reason.
Absolutely.
And how you're now able to encourage so many others to let them know, like, you don't have to be there. This is what you come through. When I was reading the story, you talked about shapeshifting and how, like, that pretend piece.
Oh,
how was the transition of that, of saying, like, let me take these skulls off. This is who I am,
Yeah.
Flaws and all.
This one is an interesting one because I always say that I know that right now I'm talking from a place of privilege. So right now in my role, I'm an SVP at a company. It's like, you can't tell me what to do. You know what I mean? It's like one of the old school housewives, like, who gonna check me? Type of situation. So I know I'm speaking from a place of power when I say that now I can speak up, I can be free, I can do all these things, but this wasn't the case early in my career. So part of the reason that I've been so vocal about my sobriety and talking about the things that I've been through, particularly when it comes to mental health, is because I know that I am in a place of power, and that why wouldn't I speak up? Because when I was back in the day, I hadn't seen a Black woman speak the way that I speak. I hadn't seen a Black woman talk about addiction or talk about mental health. It just wasn't available to me. So now I'm just adamant of like, why wouldn't I be the person to show that this could happen? Like, why wouldn't I be the person to speak about it?
Wow.
But it's been a winding road. I would be honest. There were times where I was like, have I said too much? Is this, did I go too far? But the shape shifting, like, that was the start of my career because I would always be the only person like me in the room. So when you're the only person of color, you feel like you have to conform, and the system is set up for you to believe that, and for you, for it to be true for some places.
Right.
I started my career in oil and gas. It's the biggest old boys club. Like, I would be in many, many rooms where I was the only woman and the only person of color. So of course I had to shape shift. I had to do what I had to do to get a paycheck. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. It's amazing to be able to share the story, to be able to know that whatever it is that somebody else that's listening is going through, that if Jessica can make it through, guess what? You can make it through too.
100%.
It takes
There's
that
nothing special about me. Like, if I can make it, if I can turn this thing around, and I even think, we touched on some of my drinking, but like, I didn't go into all the things that have happened. And so there were some very, very dark times. And I say that only to say that, like, you can overcome. 100% you can overcome.
Yes. Friends, you can overcome. So in other aspects of adulting, what do you think has been the hardest part of navigating?
I think for me, the career is a big part of it, because you want to, quote unquote, be successful. And success means so many things to different people. So I'm not even talking about conventional success. I'm not talking about the degrees and the titles and all of that. But like, do you actually like your job? Do you want to go to work? These are things that are so simple.
It's so simple ones that get you. They be like, what's 1 + 1? That's how simple it is. Do you like your job?
Yeah, like, just very, like, do you like getting up in the morning? Do you have what they call the Sunday scaries, where you're thinking about Monday and you don't want to go? Those are real things outside of the title, outside of your education. Are you happy in your life? And there are always things we want to change, but in general, are you happy?
Growing up, we played with like Barbies, or we played whatever game it was. You couldn't tell me nothing. I had the Michael Jackson Barbie, so I really knew something was happening. His leather jacket, the little glitter socks, the gloves. But what we imagined adulthood to be when we got to adulthood, did it add up to that for you, would you say?
No. Well, you know what? I'll take that back and say yes and no.
Okay.
So yes, in that, like, I love to travel. So growing up where I grew up, my parents they did the best that they could, but we didn't have a lot of money. There was no traveling. I actually didn't get on a plane until I was well into college, and I was paying for it myself. So adulting and like seeing the world has been beautiful. Like I've been to some amazing places. I went and lived in Australia for a few years. Like I've done some things that like as an adult, the things that I dreamed about, like I'm going to leave here and I'm going to leave this country and I'm going to see the world. So those things have been beautiful. And then the rest of it. Oh, the traveling. Okay. Now the rest of it and these bills that keep coming and all of that. It's very, very ghetto. Very ghetto.
Do not recommend. Oh, I said, Lord, like another bill? I mean, then I tell you what, and then it seemed like it just comes even quicker because time is flying.
Yeah.
But but would you trade it for anything though?
I wouldn't, but one thing I would say if I had it to do differently, and this is something that I tell my niece who's in her early 20s, is financial wellness and financial literacy. I really had no concept of how to manage money when I left my parents' house. And I literally like nothing, no concept of anything. And so I learned a lot of things the hard way. And I feel like we are doing our kids a disservice by not having them be financially literate.
Absolutely. It's so crucial. I never knew about credit cards, and then I got to college. They was like, "Oh, sign up."
And me, I was the first one.
I got stopped only because like somehow I had credit fraud and things of that sort. So like that stopped me, and I was like, "Dang, I thought I was about to be there," And I think that was probably Jesus, like, "You ain't ready, you ain't ready." And then once it did happen, it's like just the things that you wish that you did know about it. But then as you get wiser, and you're like, "Okay, I need that," and again, making sure the main bills are paid. Then you see what you can do. But really saving and stacking, those multiple streams really do mean something and are beneficial for you to have if you can do that.
Absolutely. So I wish that's the only thing I think I would, the ups, the downs. I think of life as a game of cards. And so there's some cards that I've been dealt that have been beautiful. So the cards that I got to leave the country and go get my master's degree, like the card that I'm about to get married to a man that I absolutely love. But there are also some cards that were hard to deal with. And I definitely think, addiction runs in my family. So like there's some generational things that have happened too. So I definitely got dealt the card of addiction. And it's like, what have I done with it? You know what I mean? Like, what are you going to do to overcome? So when I think of life like that, it's like, okay, I got this card, but I also got the card of parents that absolutely love me. So it's different. It's very different things.
Yeah. That's a big one. The cards that you've dealt and things that start. And sometimes things do run in the family, and it's not always easy to be the generational curse breaker.
No.
And sometimes
a lot of times people don't want to talk about that.
And we put pressure on ourselves, like, no, you can't do it. But then sometimes it's like, but I could come out of it, whatever experience is, or however long it does go, of whatever it is, friends, again, whatever it is, whatever you thinking, or it was like, well, that's not my story. Okay, but you got a story. But don't put yourself under unnecessary pressure. Reach out to somebody for support as needed if you're ready and open for that. Because sometimes people don't want to we're not really ready to be honest either.
Yeah. And be honest with somebody that can keep your secrets if that's where you have to start. So I was honest with my doctor. Okay. Who's she gonna tell? Okay. You know what I mean? Like I was honest with her. You know what I mean? So there were people that I strategically was honest with from the beginning because I was scared. And so I was honest with people that I knew I could trust or that had a legal obligation to trust.
Legal. And that's so important. We talked about that too. Like with somebody like going to a therapist, they're not going to tell you about your business. They're there to listen to you, to help you work through it, process through it, not pick sides, not tell you what to do, help you identify some steps on the board and you figure out which puzzle piece you want to put there. But being able to at least speak with somebody. And it's so big to be able to be vulnerable with somebody because sometimes we find somebody who we think we can be open to and it crushes. And then we don't want to open up again. But friends, if you just give it another try, if you need some support in the area, I also tell people like, just how you choose your doctor. If you feel like you're uncomfortable, you're like, not coming to you again.
Yeah.
It's the same if you, choose a therapist. If you feel like you clash or it's not fixing, it's not meshing, identify somebody else that can meet the need of what it is that you need. I tell you, when I went to school for it, it was interesting in class hearing the conversation of some of my classmates. Sometimes they understand some things. So I understand that. So therefore, find somebody that will understand your things so that they can successfully help you.
Yeah, they are service providers. So I
Yeah.
truly believe this. Like, I've been to doctors before where I was like, oh, no, 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 no.
Mhm.
I'm paying you for a service and
Mhm.
this is what I want.
Yeah.
So you have to find the right person for you. And it might take time, but I truly believe there are options. So I know, sometimes financially it's not an option to
Right.
do certain things. So even if and depends on, denomination, religious beliefs, but
Mhm.
even if you go talk to a pastor until
Yeah.
you can financially talk to a
Yeah.
therapist, like start somewhere with somebody
Yes.
you can trust.
Yes. Yes. So, so, so important, friends, because if not, oh, again, we're holding so much in that we don't have to hold in. There is somebody that can listen to what's going on. There is somebody that can support you. I shared again, the most underutilized service that we have for our benefits is the employee assistance program.
Yeah.
It's a therapist on the other line. They really don't know you. They
Yeah.
just want to talk to you. They got their feet up with their coffee, or you doing whatever you doing, but you working out what's going on for you, and you're getting the support that you need because you don't have to handle things alone. Yes, adulting means that you are the head of your household, but sometimes the head of the household needs some support. You
Yeah.
need a
Everybody
roommate.
needs support. I believe that to my core, that everybody needs support with something. And we might all not have the same struggles, but
Mhm.
something you need support with.
Mm, mm. Another question, like, so, sometimes in adulthood, you feel like you got to keep up with others because they got the red bottoms, they got the Gucci, they got the uh Pride or whatever it is.
Yeah.
How important is it really to keep up with the Joneses and all of those?
Let me be honest with you here. I would be lying if I said I haven't been there and I haven't been the person that's like, I need this and I'm gonna have this. And half of the time I get it, I don't even wear it, but that's a different story. Okay. I'm being delivered from that. But I would say one of the things, I think the older that I get, the more the materialistic stuff fades. And I want, like, I look at other people, like, because I'm about to get married, I look at other people that are married and in love and like their partner. I want that, like I'm picking out real stuff that I want. It's not the clothes that they're wearing. It's like, I want this type of lifestyle. I want this for my marriage. I want this for my relationship with my family and my friends. So those are things that I am now focused on. But the keeping up with people is a real thing. Like we look at other people and we just assume, we see the highlight reel on Instagram and we think, oh my God, that's what it's like. But I've also known my own highlight reel when I was struggling. Like I actually have a photo that I look at when I was in the depths of my struggle. And it's a photo that when I look at it, I see sadness in my eyes. And when other people look at it, they would see me on vacation.
They have a meme on TikTok. They was like, post a picture where you was going through and nobody knew.
Exactly.
And there's so many pictures that are posted on all these streams of social media. And if we only knew, because that's just a moment. When that picture stopped, it could be another hit. It could be another drink. It could be another dollar loss. We don't know what's going on. And even in you sharing, like, the pieces that you want in your marriage, it's so amazing to see so many different couples sharing, the highlights and things they serve, but also knowing, friends, it's some work to get to those things.
Yes.
It's, falling back, not your way or the highway all the time. You being able to be open with your significant other to find out where your happy medium is and find out what works for you.
Yeah.
Because how they got there is great, but that may not work for you. You might have a different street that still gets you to that destination and be okay with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what is a mental health enthusiast? Yeah.
To me, when I think, I call myself a mental health enthusiast because I seem to be the one speaking about mental health everywhere I go. Like it's like a constant. And part of it is that I want people to know that it's okay. I want to take away the shame because I feel like when people, especially in the Black community, in my own family, so I'll talk about in my Black family, when you start talking and you start putting diagnoses together, people are like, oh, no. But, this cousin been doing this for years, or this cousin is this. But when you start saying, okay, this person has bipolar disorder, or this person is depressed, or you starting putting clinical names on things, then it's a problem. So I speak about it because I think there's nothing to be ashamed of, and we should be talking freely about what's going on in our lives, because a lot of people are struggling silently. And silence is a killer. Okay, we know this to be true. There's statistics behind suicide rates and silence. And so I just won't live like that. I refuse to. So that's why I call myself a mental health enthusiast, because I'm willing to talk to anybody about my mental health or about the things that I've been through. And it has been so beneficial. I just last week had an employee come to me who is struggling with some things in his life. And he said, because you talk about this so often, I felt like I could trust you. And that was like, wow, like, thank you. Yes, please come to me, because I will help you. I'm not a therapist, but I will find you somebody.
Yeah. And that means the word I never take for granted when people share their story with me, whether they know what I do in my field or not. I was talking to a guy the other day, and I was like, oh, because I thought I had to put my therapist hat on. He was like, well, you a therapist? Oh, because I need support, blah, 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 blah. I said, all right, I'll find some resources for you. And then they reached out to me again, and it was like telling me the whole zip of everything that happened and what's going on. I was like, I'm sorry that was too much. One, built for it, thankfully. But I appreciate that they wanted to reach out.
Yep.
And again, you might find somebody that's not a good person to reach out to the first time, but try again.
Yes.
Have like a woosah moment of like, is this the person I should talk about? If this not the person? Because I'll get into a rather random conversation and they'll say something, I'm like, oh, well, let me share with them about this. They're like, oh my gosh, I'm going through the same thing. And then they share their story. So you never know what you have that can help encourage somebody else to get out of that stuckness that they're in.
Yes.
What's your words of wisdom for somebody that's frustrated in this cycle of this thing called life?
Oh, that's a good one. I definitely have been there. I think when I was most frustrated, it was because I didn't believe that I could get out of it. So kind of to the point that we were talking about earlier. So if you're frustrated in this current season in your life, it's okay to feel that way. Like, it is okay. Like I tell people all the time, it's okay to be sad. It's okay to be mad. It's okay to feel those feelings. So feel that feeling, but let that feeling fuel whatever your next move is. So whether that's something you need to get help with, or you need to do, or you need to leave a job, you need to go back to school, whatever it is that you need to do, let that be fuel for you, and don't stay there long. So I do believe in feeling those feelings, but don't stay there too long.
Yes, it could get you. Don't stay there too long. What's something you learned was more important than you initially thought?
Ooh, I think transparency. I think transparency, like truly being transparent about who you are, has opened up so many doors for me. One of the things on LinkedIn, I talked about my sobriety journey, and I had people tell me in my personal life, like, oh, you shouldn't have done that. That's going to cost you. Like, people are going to see that. They're not going to want to hire you, da, 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 da. I have gotten more job offers since I've talked about that than I ever did before. So it's the most ironic thing that I'm talking about something that is so like shameful to people and that people don't talk about. And yet it has fueled my career. Yeah.
Friends, it is okay to be transparent. You never know whose life you're saying. You never know what doors you're opening for yourself. You never know.
And you never know who's watching. So to your point, one of the things, I had a CEO reach out to me after I made my post about my sobriety, who's also been sober for 10 years and was like, hey, I just saw your journey and I wanted to reach out to you. And this is a CEO of a company that I don't plan on going to, like, but he is now a connection that would have, our paths would have never crossed. Our paths are only the same because we're both sober.
Friends, transparency. Whew. What's something you want our viewers to walk away with?
I'd say walk away with the knowledge that you can change. Like, one of my favorite songs, one of the lyrics is saying like that you can change no matter what has happened to you, you can change. And so I truly believe that to my core, that you can change. You don't have to stay wherever you're at today. If it's something you like, you can stay there. But if it's not, you can change it. Anything can change. Nothing has to stay the same. And I truly believe that even when it comes to family members, okay, just because family, their blood does not mean they can disrespect you. So I want to throw that out there too.
Period. So important. You gotta have those boundaries too.
Yeah.
And new song artist said, period, period, poo. That's my new favorite song now. I'm gonna just use it all the time. But yes, friends, this was so good. Yes, Kenny said congratulations all across the board.
Thank you.
Tonight. Yes, I tell you. And again, I hope that tonight was an inspiration to our listeners to know that life does life. Adele and Strong has you like a little confused sometimes, but know that you're doing an amazing job. And if you need some support, reach out to somebody. Mm-hmm. If you are frustrated with your job, not sure if you like it, don't like it, get a career coach.
Holler at me.
She will Zoom you where you need to be, help you get there, climb that ladder. And sometimes just sit still for a moment too, because sometimes we do want to move, and sometimes like
be still.
Mm-hmm. And then why are we running too? Because sometimes we're being challenged and we don't like the challenge. So we want to be able to grow where we are too, and not just like, oh, this is not working. And it's funny because like people talk about that with dating, you know, and dating relates to a lot of different things. You date a job, you date a restaurant, things that sort. But when something doesn't work out, you're ready to run. And sometimes you can tell me like, I didn't really like how my food was made, or it was too this, it was too that, and then I could fix it. But if we don't say it, if we don't learn to speak up for ourselves, they'll keep on doing what they're doing. So friends, reach out. She can connect and support you. How can people follow you? I'm going to make sure I get that so I can share that for our friends. How can people, what would be the best way for them to connect with you?
I would say the best way is through my website, which is hiddengemscareercoaching.com. Yes. So that's one. And then I'm super active on LinkedIn, Jessica Williams. You can find me on LinkedIn. And yeah, I'm always open. So feel free to reach out to me. I would be happy to help guide anybody, or even just to, I have a lot of people that reach out to me that just want to like, I'm like their venting partner. Like if you want to vent, I'm your I will hype you up all day.
Yes. I love it. I love it. I thank you so much for joining. Yes. Can we say thank you for sharing such great nuggets? Right? Like, I mean, inspired and encouraged, because again, life, whatever your vice is, you know, whatever it is you get into that you feel like, you know, you're at 8 and we put a Band-Aid on, we found out tonight, and being transparent, you can get some support and reaching out to that person that you trust, that doctor. You can get some support, because like your friends like down, but you know, maybe they was looking at WebMD, they Googled it, they don't know, you know. But until you talk to that professional, it's so important. This was really good. I thank you so much, Jessica. Thank you so much. Congratulations again on your job. Congratulations on getting married. Congratulations for your dad. You just said everything was going well, so that means everything worked out with treatment. So we all made it through the pandemic, or making it through really good. So again, thank you so very much.
I have enjoyed this. This is amazing. Thank you so much.
Yes. And again, I'm going to share Hidden Gems Career Coaching.
Perfect.
Yes. Because friends, if you need a coach, check. One more question. Do you have like resumes and stuff too?
Yes. So resumes, career coaching. I do confidence conversations as well. So in interview prep. So I'm for all of it. We can customize whatever you need.
Because it's needed. I can't tell you how many interviews I've done for some people. I'm like, you before you came. Neither here nor there. I'm going to say, go see Jessica. You know,
yes.
She reads the fine print, so you don't have to do it. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. May you have a great evening, and again, continue blessings on your continued success.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Oh man, tonight we had the amazing Jessica Williams. Friends, wasn't that good? That was a lot to take in. So take it by pieces to know, hey, you can make it too. If you just reach out, there is hope. We're going to keep that through the whole month. Bet on yourself, because you're doing amazing things, and amazing more things are to come. Don't forget our quote of the day. When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. We are challenged to change ourselves. And that's not always easy, friends, because sometimes we're like, it's comfortable. You know, we like to be comfortable. We got a good shoe. We got a good pair of sweatpants. And, you know, I'm going to talk to our ladies for a second, because sometimes you got some garments that got a couple little holes and snags and things, and you feel comfortable. We got to change them sometimes to have a good protection, because we never know what happens. Somebody see you like, oh my gosh, I'm embarrassed. We don't have to be embarrassed. We can change ourselves. Please be sure to join us next week as we will close out our Back to School series with Daryl Lee talking about cybersecurity. Friends, I can't tell you how many phone calls I get. I can't tell you how many text messages these people are now sending. They're sending emails that look like people that we know. And I want to just be able to encourage us to not get scammed. Okay, I don't want us to get scammed. And these are some things we learned in school, some things we didn't learn, and I just want to make sure that we are protecting ourselves. We're about to be upon the holidays, and I don't want you to get scammed. I want you to freely give, not be stolen from. Okay, so be sure to join us next week. As shared earlier, the meetup, we're continuing to do that. If you want to be a part, it's a time for purpose-minded people to come together to be encouraged and motivated. You have accountability partners, so be sure to connect with that. Our next event will be on Saturday, November 12th. We are going to the Selfie Content Room, and it's going to be amazing, so be sure to register. A couple more things. Next month, we're going to be having No Tricks, Just Treats. That's right, no tricks, just treats. So be sure to tune in because I'm going to be giving away some treats. We have some amazing guests, and they're going to be giving away some gifts. I'm going to be providing some gifts for you. Why? Because I care about you. Last but not least, I will be hosting a So You Want to Go Live webinar. Be sure to visit our website so that you can register. A lot of friends ask, like, how do you do that? I don't know either sometimes. Kidding. Come on Saturday, October 15th. It's going to be virtual. It's going to be at 10 a.m. And I'm just going to go through some different things, give you some good tidbits that you can walk away with and go live with. I thank you all so very much for joining us. I love you all for real. Until next time, have a good night.
Friends, we thank you for joining Jen Cares this week. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Unable to watch us live? Be sure to find us on your favorite podcast platform. You can also visit our website, chosencounselors.com. That's chosen with a Z, so that you can stay in the know and most of all, never miss a show. If you found value in this episode, we'd appreciate you sharing it with a friend. Most of all, be sure to tune in for our next episode next Monday at 8 p.m. right here as we specialize in bringing the community to you.